Marriage is the institution which God established. It is such an important institution that nobody should enter carelessly or unadvisedly.
Love is actually an act of our will, and so you must decide to love.
Fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience. When we exhibit that in our marital relationship, then we see that couples or husbands and wives enjoy the marriage that God gave to them.
The importance of marriage counseling is that it teaches the intending couples, or even the couples already, those who are already married, the principles, the biblical principles of marriage.
Yeah, it's glad to have you again on your favorite program, Relationship Matters. Coming to you from ACNNTV, we examine issues that relate to various types of relationships, such as family relationship, marital relationship, friendship relationships, and many others. In our last episode, we discussed issues related to marital relationship. In today's episode, our discussion will be centered on marriage and family life. And with me in the studio to handle this interesting topic are Mrs. Gloria Onovirapo. You're welcome to this program. And also sitting by her is the lovely husband, Mr. Ebonana Onovirapo. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having us.
We're glad to have you in this program today. Yes, let's begin this way. You know, it's no longer news that marriages and family relationships are under very serious attack, and some have broken down irredeemably. Various reasons, you know, and causes have been adduced, such as incompatibility, you know, infidelity or adultery, as we may refer to it, interference by in-laws, of in-laws and other friends, you know, issues bordering on money and how to spend them, different interests or conflicting interests, you know, then bad habits, lack of good marital sex. Of course, we're not going to, you know, be talking about all these things, but I want to know what your take is. Do you really believe this fact based on, you know, survey that marriages are breaking down so fast these days, whether it's in Europe or here in Africa, Nigeria in particular? I would like to know your view, Mrs. Onovirapo, on this.
Yeah, I actually believe on those facts.
Okay.
You know, causes like infidelity, in-laws conflicts, friends and all that. I want to say that here that this is as a result of maybe lack of proper planning before marriage.
Okay.
Because sometimes people just go into marriages with the view of let's get into it that we love ourselves, without really considering the things that will happen in the course of the marriage. It's like, for one, building a house. Before you think of building a house, you have to think of count the cost. You know, there are so many things you should put in place before getting into marriage. And today, when you counsel upcoming spouse, they tell you... Intending spouse, they tell you that, well, we're in love. And with love, we can go through whatever.
That's right.
And you find out that when they get into it, they find out that it wasn't just what they thought. So there's need for proper planning. We have these issues today because people don't plan before they get into marriage. So it's very important that at the initial stage, one should take time to plan. What do we expect in the future as we get into this thing? What are we expecting? If you get to know those things, then you know how, when it comes, you know how to go through them. But when you don't plan and you just jump into with love, I can guess, for instance, someone says, you know, they don't have a job and they want to get into marriage. And they tell you with love, they can go through whatever challenges and all that. Love does not pay the bills.
That's right.
And when they get into it, they start having issues. The reality of the whole thing, lack of finances, start, you know, setting in and all that, creating conflicts in the home and all that. So it's very important that intending couples.
So in actual fact, you agree with those who say that when you fail to plan,
Yeah, you plan to fail.
then you plan to fail.
Yes.
And you also say that there is need for those who are intending to go into this relationship to be well informed
Yeah.
about what to expect.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll hear from your husband. Mr. Novirakpo, what do you think about this statement? Your wife has already also given us some her view.
Thank you very much. I'll take it up from where she stopped. So many marriages today are experiencing at least one of the issues that you have mentioned, be it infidelity, be it influence from in-laws or friends, be it monetary issues, too much money, or the money in the home is not sufficient to take care of the bills. So virtually, I don't want to exaggerate, I know most of the families we have, they are going through such things. And like you said, it has really caused a lot of marriages to break. And I strongly believe that as we discuss this in the course of this program, like when my wife and I were praying about this program, we just believe that through our discussions, viewers out there will come to realize one or two things that they need to take into consideration to see how God can help them to make their marriage work again. But I agree totally with you that all these issues could cause
give rise to marriage breakdowns.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe we should go a little bit, narrow it down. Let's even look at this issue of incompatibility. You know, people talk about, midway they say, I didn't know we are not compatible. I don't know, ma'am, what you have to say about this. Is it incompatibility actually that determines the success of the marriage or something else? You know, when they mean incompatibility, maybe you should also try to tell us what you think they mean by incompatible.
When you say one is incompatible, it actually means they have differences.
Very major differences.
Okay. Very major differences.
Because we all have differences.
Yes, of course. Yeah, very major differences.
Everybody is unique.
Yeah.
I'm told, God made us specifically. Yes,
Yeah, very major differences, which they didn't really take time to get to know before they went into marriage. Okay. Sometimes it's not really possible to know
in details.
Yes, in details.
Everything about the person you want to
get married to. So it's when you get in, you get to see some really wonderful differences, if I may put it that way, that may really cause some conflict. But I think it's good for us to understand that we're all coming from different backgrounds.
That's right.
No two person is the same.
Never.
Even the twins, they are not.
That's right.
And we should learn to tolerate the other person. In the course of finding that your spouse is having some very, character or attitudes that is really difficult for you to cope with.
That's right.
I think there is need to sit together as couples and talk about it. Okay. Because it's always good to know why a person does what he does. Because if you don't know why he's doing it, you may never really know how to help him.
You lack an understanding of why the person does
why the person does it. So I think when you notice such differences that are affecting the marriage, you sit down as a couple and talk about it. And I think with that you'll be able to help some of those flaws, some of those challenges in the home, and to make your marriage get better.
Thank you very much. I think we may want to extend it this way. Even though we agree that we're all different, but are there certain areas we must at least agree for this marriage in the first place to even work out? I mean, as Christians, do you just marry anybody who is not a Christian or something like that? Could that not also be taken as incompatible?
Yes, as a Christian, it is clear from the Bible that we're given the guidelines that we are not supposed to be yoked with an unbeliever. And if your faith, even within the Christian fold, we have people who believe that they can do 40 days fasting, and so when they get married, their spouse is also expected to go even 20 days fasting and so on and so forth. So as a Christian, you are not expected in the first place to get married to an unbeliever. And then incompatibility can also come in the area of your academic background, the class of people you work with. That of academic background may be that the person you get married to, maybe both of you were just in the secondary school, you knew yourself from secondary school to the university, and then you get married. And then along the line, one of the spouses may have this quest for more knowledge and more education, whereas the other one, maybe because of one reason or the other, did not further his or her education. Now, the one that furthered his or her education may just feel, we have been married for this number of years, now I'm a PhD holder, you are just still having your first degree, I don't think we are compatible again. And then still talking about the one of the faith, there are some people who believe that they have to pray fervently about things
to convert
to convert the other person, that you are not praying enough. I expect that if I'm going through anything spiritual and I'm praying, my wife should be able to support me, or my husband should be able to support me, but I don't get that from you. I go to church every day and you just sit back at home and go to church only on Sundays. Such things can really cause incompatibility. And then the class of people you move with. Oh, I like people of high class. We are moving, we are talking about the economy, we are talking about the nation, and then the other party does not have interest in that. And then some may like football. Oh, I love football. And then here is your spouse not even having interest in football at all. So all these things can cause incompatibility that can really affect the marriage. But I think at the end of the day, if the couples sit down together and express themselves in love, they'll be able to come up with a possible solution that will solve the issue of this incompatibility problem.
Yeah, before we leave this issue of incompatibility, which I think is one of the things that many people use as reasons for wanting to break up their marriages, will you consider incompatibility with regards to faith a very serious issue that will mar a marriage or make it almost impossible? Because you've said you should not be equally or unequally yoked with unbelievers. So what are the chances that a believer marrying an unbeliever will actually make a success of this marriage?
Well, the chances are very, very slim. For an unbeliever to get married to a believer, or for a believer to get married to an unbeliever, the chances are very, very slim. You hear some people say, oh, after marriage, I will convert her or I will convert him. But along the line, it doesn't work out that way. My own suggestion is, if you find out that you have gotten married to somebody who is not of your faith,
of the same faith,
it still boils down to both of you sitting down together. I used to tell, most especially the ladies, that if you love a man so much, you should be able to follow him to his own religion.
Okay.
So the issue of, oh, I love him so much, but he's a Christian and I'm of the other religion, we can live like that, it doesn't work out. If you can live like that, what about the children?
Okay.
So if you find yourself in that, you must love the man or you must love the woman to the extent that you have to leave your own religion to be you cling to the other party. That is what love can do. But I will not subscribe to people of different religion getting married.
But I mean, people of different levels of education can get married, can't they?
Yes, they
And of
can.
course, they can build up from there.
Yes, they
I
can.
mean, if truly there is love, like you said, and they agree, you know, in things of faith. Matters of differences in education. After all, somebody who has a WAEC or whatever, WASC certificate, somebody who is a graduate, the person with WASC may still have the IQ of attaining. So it's a matter of growing together, you know, to whatever level of education. So that one, to me, may not be a very major issue. Should it be?
No, it shouldn't.
I shouldn't think so. All right. Yes, let's move away from incompatibility. Let's even assume that we are compatible, you know. But then it gets to this issue of infidelity. I remember when I was in one of the churches around there in Kano, a man approached me. I was then ordained and said, "Look, the scripture says, except it be for fornication, then that's when you are allowed to divorce. This one that I caught my wife, hands down. So there's no preaching." That's what he told me. He was telling me what to do. You don't preach to me again because that's it. So I want to know what you think about that. Can infidelity per se, on its own, you know, be a reason for a marriage to break down completely or for divorce to take place?
Well, infidelity is really a big challenge.
Okay.
It causes lack of trust. You know, for someone you've been with and all of a sudden, you know, you get to know it's having an affair. You know, it's being unfaithful, we know. And it takes the grace of God for a man or a woman to accept a spouse that has gone out and be unfaithful to the marriage. It really takes the grace of God, because there are people that really can't take it. In such challenging times, you really need God to take decision. You don't just, because this person has done this, then I will, you know, you go on your knees and pray, because there are certain things that happen as a result of, it may even be as a result of things that have happened in the home that made the person to go out to do that. But it's not an excuse anyway. As Christians, as believers, we should be able to keep ourselves. And when infidelity comes in fact, it takes the grace of God for you to trust that person all over again.
Thank you very much, my sister. At least hearing from the woman's point of view. We shall go on break now, viewers, and when we come back, we will want to hear from the man what he thinks about this issue of infidelity. Don't go away.
Why do we fall ill? Is it possible to stay without falling ill? Is God interested in our health? Can we get access to cheaper health anywhere? Do you want tips on how to stay healthy? Health Watch, a program to educate you viewers on how to take care of your bodies and deal with different health-related issues.
Yeah, you're welcome back, viewers, to our discussion on relationship matters. Just before we went on break, Mommy here was trying to, you know, say a little thing about how she feels infidelity could be a very serious issue, you know, in marriages. But we want to also hear from the male and the husband, so that he can also throw more light on what he thinks about infidelity or adultery, as it may be referred to, you know, in marriages. Sir, what is your take on this issue?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Infidelity, for a man to be unfaithful, I'm talking about from the men's aspect now. It is not right for a man to be unfaithful to his spouse. I discussed this issue with some few men some time ago, and we were asked that they should give reasons why they think men cheat on their wives. And some of the reasons they gave was that they did not start cheating on their wives at the first 2-3 years of marriage. But when the children starts coming in, the women tend to shift their attention from the men to their children. And like what we used to say, that the men are bigger babies. They feel they need somebody to still take care of them. As unreasonable as that excuse may be, they just feel, oh, my wife is no longer giving me the attention that she used to give me before, so it is now time for them to go and get the attention from somewhere else. Another reason some of them gave was that the sexual desires that they have, their wives at home are not giving them that sexual desires which they really need. But all those reasons are not enough for a man to cheat on his or her wife. I think, like what we discussed that day, is that they should call their wives and say, this is what I'm experiencing now.
That's right.
Let's sit down and discuss it. I find out that now that these children are coming in, you are no longer giving me that attention that you used to give to me before. And I would like to say this, and from that time I started telling women, immediately you give birth to your children, know that you also have a big child that you also need to take care of.
Okay.
Don't just forget the man. So you need to sit her down and talk to her. And then even if you are not satisfied with her sexual act or whatever, you should also say so. Just tell her that.
In other words, they should be able to communicate.
Yes,
properly.
they should be able to communicate properly. To say, please, this is how I feel. Let's see how we can improve on it. But when it starts, unfortunately, most men, they will not call their wife to discuss it. And immediately it keeps building up like that. It will get to a time for them to even call their wife to discuss it again, it will not become an issue. So they will just feel, okay, let me just leave her and start to do what I have to do. But we emphasize it, and we are still emphasizing it, that those ones are not enough reasons. And then there are another reason is that there are some women who pursue their careers more than the way they are supposed to take care of their homes. Oh, my parents saw me through school. Do you expect me to be at home 24/7? And before you know it, a woman will be traveling. She's not at home. Oh, I have official assignment. She'll travel out of the state. I have an official assignment. She'll travel to this place. And the man is like, I married you that we should come together and build this home. You leave your children at home. You are not taking care of the children. You are not even taking care of me. And some women will say, well, do I need to take care of you more than my career? At least I'm trying. I'm bringing in the money. If I'm working, it's for the good of the family. So you should not expect me to just be at home 24/7.
So in other words, our career could also be an impediment into having good marital sex.
Yes,
which can also in turn lead to, a break in the marriage relationship.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fine. But we still want to go on that. I want to go back to your wife now. You heard what your husband said. Is there any room, apart from the fact that he has emphasized the fact that there should be discussion? I think many things that are lacking in homes is that we're not able to talk to one another freely and honestly about what we're experiencing in this marriage. For example, sex is a very key aspect, which we will take on its own sometime. But many people find it, I don't know whether it's timidity, to say exactly that this is their need. A colleague of mine in counseling said that the first need of a man is food, and following that is sex. But that's not the priority of a woman. I don't know if you may want to comment on that. But the other thing I want you to talk on, apart from that, because we men actually, we have a very high sexual drive. That's true, more than the normal woman. All right, I said normal. But I also wanted you to say something. Is there no room for forgiveness? A man told me actually that as men, they have a right to go out, and the women should not go out. So what do you have to say about these things? I've said a lot of things actually.
I think a very key factor in marriage is communication.
That's actually very key.
If you're able to talk to yourselves, it solves a lot of problems.
I agree with you.
And it makes you to open up to your spouse. If there's any, even before that thing happens, you're able to speak out because there's this flow. You just want to let it out at every point in time, whether it's good, whether it's bad. You just say it. Communication is very, very important in marriage. And I think if we learn to communicate, there's nothing we really can't handle in marriage. And when it comes to the issue of infidelity, it makes you know the other person better. And you're able to take it when it happens. And like I said earlier on, we need grace from above.
That's right.
Because the truth is that nobody is perfect. Sin is sin.
Okay.
Even if it's lying, it's same as infidelity.
Okay. But some people think infidelity is the baba.
In the eyes of God, we all know that sin is sin. There's no big sin, there's no small one. So I think as a child of God, you should be able to forgive if you love your spouse very well. It's only when it continues, if it becomes an act that the person cannot do away with, then you now sit down and find a solution to it. But if you're able to talk about it, I think you'll be able to forgive and let go.
That's right.
But it takes the grace of God to let it go.
Yeah, because somebody said to me, it may never be like before, you know, because I talked to a lady sometime who was married to a very handsome and well-to-do, I mean, in terms of, you know, what it takes to be a man, the same money. And, you know, she said the day she found her husband on their matrimonial bed with another lady, said that day her love for the man died. I'm using the exact words. You know, there was, and actually she then, from there, one thing developed into another. It couldn't be discussed. Yeah. You know, she developed some emotional problems. She was on some drugs to see whether she could be calmed down. In fact, she went into a prayer house. And in the course of this bitterness, you know, one of their children, they had 3 children, died. So that heightened even her emotional problem. That made her go through a lot of medical, you know, issues. And eventually the marriage, you know, broke down completely. You need to see the lady I'm talking about, very pretty lady. You wouldn't even know she's been married before. So I agree with you. But then, like you said, as Christians, we should think about forgiveness. Since infidelity is not as if it's the biggest of all the sins that, you know, we can ever commit. So I think proper teaching, you know, about forgiveness, which I think in the course of this our program, we will also look at it in depth, because forgiveness is part of what is required for any marriage to really succeed. Looking at all the issues that can arise, you know, in 2 people, like you said, who are from different backgrounds, have different priorities in life. Maybe their sexual orientation even is so different. And all these things are brought into this relationship. And because you never got to know these things in detail before, you are coming to face them for the first time. Like you rightly said, we need the grace of God. That's actually true. Yeah, okay, having said that, I think we may, if time permits us, but I can see that our time is running off, so we may not be able to go into other issues. But it's been wonderful actually talking with you, and you also sharing with the viewers on, you know, these issues of... So what would you want to say concerning this? Your last word, you know, to the viewers out there. Then I also want to know concerning, you know, issues in marriage and the ones who have discussed incompatibility and infidelity. What's your last word?
I think as Christians, we should make every effort to make our marriage work. We should give in our best. That's right. It's a lifetime investment. So whatever it takes.
Be devoted.
Yes, be devoted.
Yeah.
Yes, my parting words would be that as a man or a woman, whatever you are going through in your marriage now, people have gone through it before. And others will still go through it. So I will advise that you make up your mind that you want to make your marriage to work. And prayerfully talk to God about it sit your spouse down and talk with your spouse with love and with the determination that yes, you want this marriage to work. Like I said about the woman who is going out traveling, bringing in money into the family, as a man, try as much as possible to give your wife all the support that she needs. Women are very easy to convince. And if you want to, yes, if you want to see,
women.
Women are very easy to convince, but if you want to see their other side, you will not be able to take it. So give them all the support that they need, and you'll get the best out of them.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Onovirakpo and Mr. Onovirakpo. It's been wonderful having you in the studio to discuss these issues. Viewers, you agree with me that these topics are inexhaustible, and we want to invite you to be present in our subsequent episodes when we will take some of these things into more details. It will help you, even if you're not married, to know what to expect, and if you're married, to know that it's hard work. But remember, the grace of God surpasses all of this. So we thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you next time. Stay safe and be blessed.